What is up guys, Jack Gardiner here, and today I'm delighted to be checking out the brand new IRF Loudpedal by Laney amps. Now this one is called the Ironheart Foundry. It's essentially based off of the Ironheart amps. Now if you are familiar with them, they are these big heads. They are primarily used for kind of higher gain sounds, and it's one of Laney's flagship amps really. But essentially it's a 2-channel amp here. We've got on channel 1 like a rhythm clean lead option, and they're just different gain structures. On channel 2 it's more like a modern kind of metally sound with a bright and a dark switch. It's just more gain really. And then we have a boost over here. But what's really cool about this is all in pedalboard amp format. Now these pedalboard amps are all the rage at the minute, and I can totally see why. Essentially they negate the need to bring a big valve amp. You know, you save on your back really, and in most cases they negate the need for a cab if you don't want one. There's of course an option to use a cab with this. Over here on the side you can use a cab, but what most people want these days is something that can go straight to front of house with minimal processing, no need for a mic on a cab or anything like that, or straight into in-ears. That's in particular how I do things these days when I'm playing live. But this means then with this amp we have the option to do that. We can basically take a XLR out of the DI out up here, and there is a cabinet sim built in. Laney have provided their own built into this unit. Of course you can toggle that cab sim off and use your own or third-party IRs. That's what I actually did at the beginning of this video here. I was using one of my favorites from 2Notes, but that means then that we can have like a silent stage if we need to. Also, in terms of like recording, you are getting recording ready tones straight out of the box really. And that's why these pedalboard amps I think are so popular. Just to walk you through what you've got there, you've got the toggle switch to turn off the cabinet emulation, so if you want to use a third-party IR. You've got a ground lift switch over here, there's an aux in, and there's also a headphone little mini jack thing there. So that is perfect if, say, you just want to use this pedal by itself and you would like to practice, say you're on a tour bus, or you know, you're at home and you want to be silent. Perfect solution here. You've essentially got the amp ready to go, and it can be silent if needs be, but there is of course the option to power a cab if you would like to as well. So without further ado, I think what we should do really is check out some of these tones. So we're going to take a look at channel 1. We'll start with some cleans. Let's dig into it. So let's check out what this thing sounds like. We're going to start just on channel 1 with everything kind of at 12 o'clock, including the gain up here, and we're going to be on the clean setting on this little dip switch. In terms of the sound which you're hearing, I'm going to add some reverb and delay just because it's a little bit more comfortable over in my DAW, and I am using my own third-party IR. That is the 2Notes Bog Viceroy. So yeah, it just feels a bit more comfortable to play to me, but let's check it out anyway. So this is everything at 12 o'clock, just a basic clean sound. Really, really pretty. We're not going to touch the EQ. I'm just going to go up and switch that dip switch to the rhythm sound, and we'll hear there's a little bit more gain now. Just a little bit more bitey, perfect for that kind of bluesy sound. If I go to my humbucker here, it's really kind of angry. Really, really cool. Just a little bit more gain than that clean channel. And then if we go down to the lead, we're going to get even more gain. So might just give a little bit more volume there, just to compensate. So you can hear there, that's quite low gain. I can crank that up and we can see what we get, maybe a bit more of a modern sound. Also, bear in mind, we haven't touched the EQ at all, so maybe I'd take a bit of the low end out, seeing as it's a lead sound, boost a bit of the mids and maybe a tiny bit of top as well there. Maybe not that much, let's get rid of some of that. Let's try again, some of the top end out. Put a bit more low end back in, actually. Very, very glassy, but I like that. So a lot more gain from where we were with that clean channel. If I take that back and just reset the EQ here, this was the clean. That's where I like it, to be totally honest, just for my style of playing, but get really dynamic, you know, if you roll down the volume a little bit. Back up. Really cool. So that's kind of it for channel 1, and of course you could go mad with the EQ there if you'd like, but let's check out channel 2 then. So over here, this is much more gain, a much more modern sound. I'm going to leave everything at 12 o'clock again for now. I'm going to switch this dip switch into the middle so there's no bright or dark engaged at the minute, and this is what you get. Much more heavy, much more modern. Very cool nonetheless. But you can use the bright switch here if you'd like. So that sounds like this. If we go down to the dark switch. I think I actually prefer it in the middle, you know. So it can get that kind of like 80s kind of rhythm sound and lead within that channel, but also much more modern if we crank the gain. I mean, I am not a high gain player by any means, but let's check out this now. It just feels very, very easy to play. Works very well as a lead sound as well. You know, for me, I'm not a high gain player, like I say, but I can see exactly why people like that sound from it. Now, let's just engage the boost then. So I think if we go back to channel 1, what the boost is doing is essentially giving us a bit more, and we've got its own separate control. So I could go from, say, this clean to this. There's more gain, it sounds angry. And of course more volume, and that's the kind of sound you heard right at the beginning there. I mean, I'm just going to EQ this a little bit so that you can hear, but with it off. So if I was to use that live, that's probably what I'd do. I'd have this as kind of my main go-to tone. So kind of a light gain / cleany sound. And then if I wanted more, engage the boost. Really, really pretty. But that pretty much sums it all up then. So to point out, let's just summarize what you can do with this thing. So it is a pedal board amp. It's 2-channel, like the Ironheart. What you can do is send the DI out to the front of house, and that can have a cab synth that is built in, engaged. And what you could do then is you have no cab on stage. You could monitor it with your in-ear monitors. Or you could use a third-party IR if you're not happy with the IR inside here, or if you just have a different preference, really. You can then, of course, use it in combination with a cab on stage if you'd like. Some people like that air movement on stage. I know I am quite a fan of that, if that is allowed. Very often these days, stages need to be completely silent. So not always an option, but good to have. And then, of course, you can use this for recording, like I am now to do this demo. Essentially, it's album ready sound straight into the laptop, into the DAW, you're good to go. And then the final thing I'll point out is that if you were to want to practice with this, then of course you have the aux in to run things through, and then the headphones as well. So if you need to silently practice somewhere, it's the perfect solution. What do you guys think to these tones anyway? What do you think to the Ironheart? Are you a fan of that amp already? And how does this compare in terms of sound? I hope you guys have enjoyed this demo. If you'd like to check out more, check out the links down below. My name is Jack Gardiner. This is the Laney IRF Loudpedal, the Ironheart. Cheers.